Thank you, Regents, for all you do. I hope you had a relaxing and festive holiday season, at least to the extent that was possible. One of my New Year's resolutions, along with exercise more, was to banish the word unprecedented from my vocabulary. We heard it too many times in 2020. And then yesterday happened. Surely that was as unprecedented as anything we encountered in 2020. We saw our democracy challenged in a completely unprecedented manner. We saw a mob takeover of the U.S. Capitol building fomented by a sitting president. And then we saw the immediate resilience of our democracy. The Capitol was cleared, and within hours, our Congress returned to do its job, taking the final constitutional step underlying the peaceful transfer of power that is our hallmark. Almost lost in yesterday's events was the conclusion of a pair of, yes, unprecedented results in the senatorial races for Georgia that will change our landscape also. All of this portends 2 more weeks in which we should expect more of the unexpected. I'll have more to say about all this in the days to come, but for now, I decided that I am personally thinking of these next weeks as part of 2020, and the new year will start when this election is truly behind us. Here at home, we're all preparing for the start of classes next week. Our mode of instruction will be blessedly unprecedented, following the general model of last fall when in-person instruction takes place only for the hands-on courses that require it. Our labs, clinical education in the health sciences, our shops in the trades, studios in the arts, kitchens for our culinary programs, and the like. And we have been very successful in protecting against COVID in those programs where we have needed to be. As of this morning, our UH Manoa headcount enrollment is down 104 students compared to last spring. UH Hilo is down 145 students. Our virtual host today, UH West Oahu, is up 115 students, and community colleges are down 697 students. Some of you have asked about the explanation for the community college downturn, especially when we saw such a large increase in the community colleges during the last recession. And one of the articles I read over the last week gave what seems to be the most plausible explanation. In the last recession, it was an economic recession, and people turned to our community colleges and community colleges around the nation, as well as to our four-year universities, to retool themselves for better jobs. In this recession, people are discouraged because they don't see jobs. They don't see what they would be re-educating themselves for. In addition, they are faced with the uncertainties of COVID, with caring for family members, and with a host of challenges that make people really question their futures. And I think from my perspective, that makes sense to me. If it is indeed accurate, we should expect to begin to see some uptick next year when the hazards of COVID-19 will be largely mitigated with the vaccination programs that are going into place now. Some bits of good news. Our extramural funding level surpassed $300 million just before the end of the year. That's halfway through our fiscal year. We don't expect it to double in the rest of the year, but that's almost a 20% increase over last year. And a lot of that growth is coming, in fact, in our community colleges and related programs to support the kinds of non-credit and community outreach that they've been engaged in. Vice President Dolan advised me this morning. I checked in with him because we don't have a daily webpage for our philanthropy, but we're now over 56 million halfway through the year, far surpassing our expectations. So bits of good news in some of our non-general fund areas, and I'll say much more about general funds and federal funds in the substantive presentation during this meeting. Lastly, I did mention vaccination as the key to bringing COVID-19 under control for UH and the community. As with all other aspects of COVID-19, UH has been incredibly active, and in this front, our team was working with the Department of Health throughout the holidays on vaccination plans across the state. Yesterday, we announced a comprehensive memorandum of agreement with the Department of Health that addresses the engagement of up to 1,000 UH volunteers in vaccination in our facilities and other resources from Kauai to Hawaii Island. Primary participation is really from the nursing programs across the state, the Johnny Burns School of Medicine, and the Daniel K. Inouye College of Pharmacy on Hawaii Island. A lot of credit goes to our Office of General Counsel. As you can imagine, there's a risk behind every needle, and we have mitigated all of them as best we can. Last week, we also started working with the major hospital systems to understand whether or how we might work with them. We are also working to understand exactly where members of our UH community fit into the vaccination priorities, and we continue to work with the state on that. But our volunteers and faculty who are in the front lines and our clinical students will be part of 1A, the highest priority to protect them as we move into other people who are essential workers on our campuses.